Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Batwoman. This time we're on episode 2 of season 2. Last time we were introduced to the lovely Ryan Wilder, Javicia Leslie as Ryan Wilder, and she had a pretty extensive background. She came from, the way she described it, she came from a background of numbers, like nothing but negative numbers, and the one positive number was being the number one girl to her adoptive mother, the adoptive mother who was killed by a group of squatters connected directly to Alice. The episode opened up with a plane literally falling out of the sky in bits and pieces and crashing into the ground and into the ocean, and all that sort of stuff. So she didn't find Kate. Kate was meant to be on the plane. That was the plane Kate was using to come back in to Gotham from National City after having visited Kara to see if she would be okay with the team actually destroying the kryptonite to make sure that there was no weapon in Gotham that Alice or anyone could use to actually penetrate the Batsuit and kill Batwoman. So she went there, she was coming back, and then the plane blew up. Just like I think they mentioned a record component, of the plane. So the plane malfunctioned, and then it blew up, and then no body was ever found. No body was ever found. They changed it after a while from rescue to recovery to actually recovering any kind of, you know, like anything that would be identifiable as Kate Kane. So it went from missing, like, I think soon enough it should go from missing to presumed dead, because I also read that the CW have confirmed that they're not actually fridging Kate Kane, so they're not they're like not putting. I think they're not putting her away, but to bring her back. I think I read something someone said, like, they're not fridging Kate Kane, or they're not like putting her away just to bring her back in. But the way the last episode unrolled, it felt like they had definitively killed her off because they didn't want to have to recast her or something. So I don't know what their plan is with Kate, but she's now missing, and I think soon enough she's going to be missing, presumed dead. But whether or not she gets the same treatment as Bruce, where she comes back after having survived or whatever, then we have to wait and see. But in Kate's absence rose a wild red flower, in the shape and form of Ryan Wilder. She was homeless. She was just living in like an RV off just outside the city, and then she bared witness to the entire crash, and she found the Batsuit. And I think she definitely knew what it was. She'd grown up in Gotham, so she was aware of Batwoman and the Bat symbol and that whole kind of legacy and everything. So she knew what it was, and she was not she was not completely unfit to wear the Batsuit. She actually had like a history in martial arts training and teaching and stuff, so she was pretty capable and pretty fit to actually, fight as a Batwoman. But she didn't become the Batwoman immediately. She had like her own mission that she felt that the Batsuit would be pretty suitable to execute. And her mission is seeking vengeance against Alice. She wants to seek vengeance against Alice because the squatters that killed her landlord and her mum, were they were directly connected to Alice, and Alice led them away afterwards and left Ryan as the only survivor. So she's looking for vengeance. And she's read up on the story of Kate Kane too. She knows that Kate is the Batwoman because she actually met Mary and Luke for the first time in the last episode, and then they actually told her that the suit belonged to Kate Kane, and then that she was Batwoman. So she knows that Kate was Batwoman, and that she also read up on her story from the newspaper on how she went to Point Rock and she was expelled, and she did all these other things, despite all the prejudices hanging on her shoulders. So I think that is an interesting way to bring Ryan into the fold, like showing her that you too can do exactly what Kate did as Batwoman, despite any second guesses you might have, despite what you might think of yourself. Kate used all these things as her strengths and persevered, so you can do the same thing too. So I don't know how close we might be to getting Ryan confirmed too. I think this episode we actually might see her analyzing the Bat kind of mantle a bit more and the Bat legacy, and seeing if she's actually willing to actually pick it up. Because I think even last time she never tried like to pass herself off as Batwoman. She just happily unmasked in front of Mary and Luke. So I think she's not so much in it for the symbol as she is for being able to actually do the thing without exposing herself. Like she's logical. She doesn't want to actually put a target on her back, despite what she may or may not have to lose. But she does know the value of the suit and the value of fighting the good fight like that. So it's an interesting enough backstory, So I'm curious to see how she actually pushes forward and how Ryan actually becomes Batwoman. So it'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun. And and Ryan already seems like a really, really fun character to get to know, and she already seems like someone who, knows the value of justice and fighting and doing the right thing. So that is pretty much already makes her a great fit. Also alongside the actual martial arts skills and the badassery, so it makes her a pretty great fit for Batwoman already. So we'll see. But that is all of that stuff, and we find out that Sapphire was behind the plane crash. Sapphire sent a paper airplane down into the sewers, and told. It was also on the same newspaper page, talking about Kate's death, and she addressed it to Alice, saying, "Consider us even." So she, I think, knowing that she was actually, or knowing that Kate was Batwoman and that she was connected to Julia Pennyworth, who was her initial target. She got rid of Kate, and now I think now she might still be going after Julia, but also going after Sophie, because she has the pictures of Sophie and Julia too. But now Alice is going to be on her own mission, because she wanted to be the one to kill Kate in any way possible, even if especially in the sense of actually pitting Batwoman and Commander Kane against each other. And Alice even unveiled that secret to Commander Kane, told him that his daughter Kate was Batwoman, and told him to as proof, told him to turn on the back signal to see if she would show up, which she didn't, and then Kane found out the truth. So there's a lot of emotional turmoil. First episode in, and we're already facing a lot of emotional turmoil from different characters, and now we'll just see how they actually have to move in, knowing that Sapphire's on the way and a war is coming and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be fun. But I think I am looking forward to seeing not only how Ryan embraces the Batmantle, but also how she gets on with Mary and Luke, and seeing more of Mary and Luke actually embracing this new person as their Batwoman, and seeing how this new team decides to come together and save Gotham once again. So I can tell this is going to be an enjoyable season. I at least personally feel like it's going to be a season to really enjoy, and GVC is going to smash it. So I'm here for it. So yeah, that is pretty much all I can remember. I think. Oh no, she also has kryptonite poisoning because she actually faced off against Tommy. Tommy actually portrayed cosplayed as Bruce Wayne for the majority of the episode, and he tricked Luke into giving him the kryptonite and loaded it into a shotgun or a rifle or something, and then shot Ryan with it, and she survived. She still stood back up, but she does actually have some residual kind of kryptonite poisoning, as we saw at the end. So I think that might be how she reunites with Mary and Luke. She doesn't know what's in her body, she doesn't know what's happening to her, so she might go back to them and actually ask them for assistance and everything. So that is going to be a fun thing to go into. So I don't know if that's going to last longer. I feel like that might be what draws her back to them, but then they might be able to come up with some kind of cure at least by the next episode. So I don't think it's going to actually last that long. But then it's actually, the more she sticks around, the more she's going to get to know Ryan, and the more she's going to get to know Luke and Mary, and see what they're all about, and also learn more about the Batmantle and more about Kate and Bruce and everyone else. So yeah, it's going to be fun. But yeah, that is pretty much all I can remember from the last one. So on to episode 2 of Batwoman Season 2. This is going to be the highlight reel, as always. So if you guys want to catch the full-length reaction, that one is going to be over on Patreon. You just need your own copy of the episode, and you can sync it up, and it'll be good to go. So you can catch that one over there. That's going to be pretty fun. But yeah, Batwoman Season 2, Episode 2. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, neat cat ears. Yeah. If we got a Catwoman in this show, that would be super cool. That would be really, really cool. Oh. Oh, is it Julia? I feel like it might be Julia. Oh, nice throw. There we go. That had to be Julia, right?
Every second you're inside, you're assessing threats, trying to figure out who's dangerous. You get real good at reading people. Faces can tell you a lot.
And a pro-Batwoman rally has been planned for tomorrow.
Oh, a pro-Batwoman.
To demand the return of the Caped Crusader.
Huh. Okay. I wonder how he feels now about Sophie actually allying with Kate. Oh, allying with Batwoman. Yeah. That's a great blazer. Yeah. Like a lightish blue. Ah, that kryptonite poisoning. Yeah, you gotta see Mary and Luke about it. The only ones equipped to handle it. Oh, okay, that's not how we do it. Boom. Ibuprofen to the head. Yeah, the opposite of pain killing. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh.
Ryan Wilder.
Ryan and
On that
Sophie meet for the
surprising
first time.
report.
Okay.
Hey, so.
Oh, they know each other.
It's Agent Moore.
They know each other?
I figure we've done this enough times to be on a first name basis.
Got the security footage. Her story checks out.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. What are you talking about?
That if Alice weren't white, she'd be dead.
She has a point, kind of. She
Sorry for the inconvenience, Ms. Wilder.
pretty much has a
You're free
point.
to go.
Yeah, you can't hide it. You cannot lie about it or hide it.
Sympathy for that psychopath. Alice is Beth Kane, isn't she?
Oh, she put that together pretty quick. Okay.
Who told you that?
Girl goes missing 16 years ago.
Oh, she did her
Nobody's
research.
found.
She did her research, yeah.
I mean, does covering up for her run in the family?
That bitch kills my mom. I would never help her.
Tell me where I can find her. And I will get justice for both of our moms.
Need a tissue?
Believe it or not, I'm not here to kill you, Penny Whistle. If I was, I'd just swipe left and delete you.
Always check the back seat.
Quite the opposite. You know, have each other's backs.
Yeah. So you stick a knife in mine.
Well, we could do a couple of trust falls first. Work up to the idea. How does that sound?
Kate was the only person who had any sympathy left for you.
And you also have no other
She's
allies.
gone. You don't have anyone.
Oh, she did stick a knife in you, eventually.
In your back.
Yeah. I figured that was coming. No.
Wait, is he still?
Dead bodies don't do that.
How was he moving?
I don't know.
Oh! It's the one with the yellow eyes.
What? I really hate bats.
And yet you dress up as Batwoman, really? That's your logic? That's your logic?
But said the body count would be high.
So, some sort of public event?
Guys,
Yes.
I think I can narrow it down.
The rally, the Batwoman rally. Yeah, the pro-Batwoman rally. Especially take down people who would support Batwoman.
Gotta admit.
Yeah.
Hello? Black?
Okay, I think that she knows that. And what? You put her on top of a 20-story building? People will be focused on the suit, not the person in it. And we're talking what?
Batwoman was, oh, there's a Pride. Oh, there's Pride ones. I didn't even notice that. There's actually Pride versions of it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, find your footing. Yeah, find your footing.
Look heroic.
Hands on hips. Yeah. Hands on hips. There we go. There we go.
How's that?
She keeps us safe. What do you guys do? Oh, damn.
I get what she took away from you, but Batwoman does not kill.
Well, like you said, I'm not Batwoman.
Oh,
I cannot let you do this.
What about the girl inside?
Let's find out.
oh, damn. Kind of want to see this, but, you know, in better circumstances. Yeah. Oh, damn it.
You can't seriously be okay with this.
You know what I'm really not okay with? Everybody just expecting me to get over the fact that Alice killed my mom. And maybe if Kate would have done what Ryan's trying to do, she'd still be alive.
We're just getting started.
A bomb? Where's the bomb? Where's the boom?
Was that supposed to do something?
Is it bats? Is it more radioactive? Whatever, bats. Bats with yellow eyes. The bats with the yellow eyes. Yeah, bats with yellow eyes. Destroy that transmitter. Oh, no, Ryan.
People don't have a minute.
Ryan, you have to save the people. You have to save the people. Save the people. Destroy that transmitter. Yeah, be the hero. They got yellow eyes. Oh, and they're bleeding from the nose.
No.
This didn't happen to Catherine.
More comfortable.
That's your blood. I swiped it from you when Nocturna tried to drain you, so
Oh, because she has the cure in her, yeah. Because that's what Nocturna wanted her
rare
for.
vintage find.
Ah.
And it's the only thing that will treat that nasty little toxin.
How many people can she give that to,
Poisoning
though?
my mom wasn't enough. Underneath all of your crazy, this is your cry for help.
Second person to mention that, yeah.
Grieving.
Hmm.
Try to stay in one of them.
Oh, give me a break.
Batmobile. She's driving the Batmobile. Okay.
I might have an idea.
Talk to me.
Probably better if I ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Oh, the crow bus. The crow bus, really? Leave it in the bus, and then they go for the bus. Okay. But how would that get rid of them, though? Just keep them in the bus? Just keep them all in the bus? Are they gonna fit in there? Yeah, just keep them all in the bus, okay. You gonna blow up the bus?
Get down!
Get down! Don't come out of the tent, get down! Okay, get rid of the yeah, okay. There we go. Smart thinking. Very smart thinking.
Oh, no, I'm not really Batwoman.
We'll get there. We'll get
You're
there.
me.
Yeah. Okay. Support, first-hand support. Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
Are long and frankly so is
Oh, I love Mary's hair. Yeah, the side curls. Yeah. And the little colouring on the end. Yeah, and the leather jacket too. Yeah. Loving it. Loving it.
Would have been nice.
Did she say she loved you?
Kate's letter.
In the letter? Did Kate
Yeah.
say she loved you? What does it matter? I just want to know if we're over because you don't trust me or because I'm not Kate.
Both.
So Julie and Sophie are no longer a thing.
I have been trapped in a life surrounded by criminals.
Hmm.
I know how they think, how they act, but most of all, I know how to stop them.
Until Kate's back.
Come on. I'll show you around.
Yeah, okay. Mary and Ryan is a duo I'm already living for. So it's a duo I'm already here for. So flannel really suits her too. Flannel's a great look on her.
People like her are the hope this city needs.
So that was Kate. That was a flashback to when Kate saved Ryan. Ah. Okay. And Ryan's starting her own diary. Dear Kate. Oh, addressed to Kate. Okay. That's gonna be an interesting journey to watch. Oh, crap. Oh. Is this Sophia? This is Sophia Sohail. Oh.
Your little stunt with that miracle cure has drawn Sophia's wrath.
Oh, this isn't Sophia. One of her
Was what I
people.
intended. Sophia will see you die.
Okay, Tatiana.
Maybe.
Oh, I feel you're about to. I feel like you're about to. I feel like I'm only gonna like end up loving that theme the more I hear it after each episode of this season. Like it just gets reinforced each time, and you know, it's a great track. It's honestly a great track. So yeah, continuing the journey, this episode. So we see a bit more of Ryan in the Batsuit, but yeah, like I theorized, it's not until at least it's not until the end of this episode that we actually consider Ryan actually stepping into that mantle, understanding what being Batwoman means and being what being Batwoman consists of, and whether or not she's actually ready for that kind of role yet. And it was interesting, definitely interesting. I think hesitant kind of team dynamics here, like Luke just wants Kate back. He just wants Kate back. He doesn't want to have to consider bringing in like any kind of replacement or considering anyone else as Batwoman just yet. He's still holding out hope, and he's still adamant on finding Kate. And Mary feels somewhat the same way. She feels somewhat the same way. So very reluctant team dynamics. Then I think even Ryan, I think she's very resourceful. She's very, very resourceful. She's very, very kind of she knows to do her research, and especially figuring out that Beth is Alice so quickly, and especially her pointing out that like that conversation. I think so. So I think I was confused at first as to how Sophie and and Ryan actually knew each other to begin with. But then she actually, like initially she was actually arrested by the Crows and then convicted to Blackgate. So she was actually at Blackgate prison. She was at Blackgate prison, which I think is like, I think that one is like what, like the second worst, like Arkham Asylum being the worst kind of prison, and then I mean Arkham Asylum is specifically, I think, like a I mean, Arkham Asylum, I think that's like, is that specifically like a mental institute, or I don't know, because I think they definitely have like super criminals and actual, like mentally unstable people there, but I think they also keep regular criminals there too. Surely, I think if Arkham Asylum, if the video game is anything to go by, they definitely had like regular criminals there too. But Blackgate, I think would be like the second worst one. I think that one's in like Bloodhaven, like that one's like Nightwing territory. But yeah, Ryan was convicted of Blackgate on a plea deal, got 50, I think got like, was it 15 months instead of 18, I think she got? Yeah, I think she actually, her lawyer or the judge or something, like, convinced her to go for like a lesser deal, take a bullet and a half, so she went to Blackgate, and I think, yeah, no, so right, so I think she was definitely arrested by the Crows before on the drug possession charge. So I think that must be how I think that and maybe some other cases might have been how Sophie Sophie and Ryan actually were already so familiar. So that was like a nice kind of friendly, ironically friendly kind of tone to see. But yeah, no, thingy, Ryan's line as to the fact that like it's amazing that like she's arrested so often for things that she's not done, as opposed to someone like Alice doing so many recognizably bad and evil things, and yet she hasn't been arrested. Well, I mean, she's been arrested, but she just never stayed arrested, or actually been, or even once just been convicted of any charges. Like the closest they got was literally Kate tricking Alice into going to Arkham with her, and then her locking her up there and then actually leaving her there too. So that was the closest they got. And yeah, and then Ryan's kind of logic being like, Alice would be actually not just arrested, but Alice would have been arrested and or dead a lot sooner if she wasn't a white woman. So yeah, and I think that is something that I think that is I think racial profiling, like they definitely did like address that in the first season with the executioner and with Reggie Harris, the guy that was actually charged with having killed Lucius Fox. So they definitely arrested, but they definitely addressed it. But I think in terms of the villains, they haven't really addressed that, because even with the executioner, he was a white guy, like actually becoming more and more aware of the actual profiling and the injustice within the system itself, and then going up against the people he used to work with in that name. But then Alice, she is like a white woman, so she's kind of gotten away with a lot more than she would if she was black, or even just a person of color in general. So Ryan kind of addressing that was like a nice kind of way to hit it into the audience, like like all these villains are usually white. All these villains are usually white, and then they get away with all these crimes, and the police just conveniently fail to catch them or fail to stop them. But then the second a criminal hits the streets and they're not white, it's all hands on deck, hit the cuffs out, get them into prison, and make them serve time. So yeah, and I think also it's also like having someone like that as Batwoman, like someone who's black and who's aware of what could happen if like a member of law enforcement comes up against them, because especially because with Kate, because she was a vigilante, she already had that kind of tension with the Crows too, like Jacob just believing that he could, him and the Crows could do whatever needed to be done. Like they didn't need like a vigilante on their side, and especially with Jacob as well, seeing Batwoman having returned for the first time on that on the ledge of that building, but then him using binoculars. I mean, I'm surprised he got that much zoom in with the binoculars. He actually got like the binoculars actually allowed him to zoom in enough to see the face, like portions of the face underneath the mask, and seeing it was a black woman and stuff. And his immediate change of face being like, oh, get that imposter off the roof. Like the fact that I think you'd think he would be happy that Batwoman is still there, someone is still there, but then it's like it's not like, because I think in any other case, if it was still a white woman but it just wasn't Kate, if it was still someone else, I think it's debatable as to whether he would still have that reaction. It might just be like, oh, that's actually not Batwoman. Maybe it's just like another innocent woman playing dress up and trying to instill some hope. So get her off of that roof before she hurts herself or something like that. But then the moment he sees it's not Kate, but it's also not a white woman, it's like you're gonna have to question: is that like his kind of reaction? Like oh, it's an imposter. Get her off that roof. And all that kind of stuff. So I think, yeah, we're having like bringing someone like Ryan into this role and actually bringing her into the world and the atmosphere that is Gotham City. Someone who's also, and also the way she explained that kind of skill set and that kind of, you know, like knowledge of how the criminal underworld works. Like, you know, her being innocent but still being surrounded by criminals and having to actually serve that time. She knows how they work. She's got like an intricate kind of knowledge of that kind of world and how people like that work. So she can actually she can help to stop criminals and to reduce crime in a way that Kate never could. Kate had an understandable amount of privilege in her hands despite the prejudices already thrust upon her. But with Ryan, it's like, you know, I think that there's gonna be a lot more kind of race issues addressed in this season, rightfully so, and it's gonna be an interesting way to look at how people in general actually react to this new Batwoman, and especially because with the casting of Javicia Leslie too, you know, it's undeniable there were people who kind of felt, you know, the way that they did, not in a right way at all, but you know, I think it's also an interesting way for real life to transfer onto art too, like how life translates to art. Like, you know, people objected, like being objected against Javicia Leslie being the new Batwoman, and now people in real life, like, I think it'll be a good way to test how loyal the actual Batwoman fans in that world actually are. Like, you know, oh, you claim you love Batwoman, you've even got like the cute little pride flags and the pride bat symbols too, but what if she was a black woman? Or, like, would you be able to accept Kate if she still wasn't white? Like does your loyalty and your acceptance really stretch that far? I think that would be an interesting thing to address too. I wouldn't want there to be any racist Batwoman fans, but even in the show. But yeah, and I think that is also the kind of thing, like, how can you be a superhero fan and be racist? Like, superheroes stand up for everyone. They actually fight for justice in general. Like they don't pick and choose who they fight for based on like sexuality or race or gender or anything like that. Like, superheroes fight for everyone. Like, that's the whole point of being a superhero. Like, if you picked and chose who you fought for, then you wouldn't really be much of a superhero. Like, you know, because then, you know, if you hate one specific group, then the rest of them will start to wonder, oh, like, how long till they hate me too, or how long till they actually, you know, like review other prejudices on their skin. So I want to avoid saying it raises for like an interesting storyline, because it shouldn't have to be like discrimination shouldn't have to be an interesting thing for them to actually have to face, or it shouldn't be something that they have to face. But I think addressing whether or not Batwoman fans in the show actually accept the new Batwoman, it's gonna be, I think it's something definitely worth addressing, but it's also not something I want to see Ryan have to go through. But I think if anything, Ryan has definitely shown that she's actually willing to put herself through that kind of, like, through those kinds of phases. And also with I think even with Alice, it's like, it's just a case of her knowing that it's not Kate under that suit. So for her, it just seems like, you know, oh, is someone else wearing Kate's bulletproof hand-me-downs and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, but the whole I think I'm hoping there won't be any trouble between Batwoman and the fans, and it might just be between the criminals or the crows or anything. I'm hoping the fans will still accept this new Batwoman as the Batwoman who still stands for them and who still fights for them and stuff. So yeah, and especially even with that young woman at the end, who's like the young homeless woman who came out of the tent and was saved by Batwoman. She even said, you know, well, even if you don't say about your Batwoman, you're still Batwoman to me. Like, that kind of response is something a lot more heartwarming to see and a lot more welcoming to see. Like, people still accepting the fact that, okay, even if this isn't the same Batwoman as before, she's still Batwoman. She's still here. She still stands for us. She still fights for us. She still kind of wants us to elevate our voices. Like, that kind of message will be there. And I think we can safely assume that even if they do show hardships and struggle, then that will be the message that stands up in the end too. So I guess we'll see. But I think in that sense, Ryan does bring in a very, very kind of fresh, kind of new perspective, but also the fact that, you know, I think the message she will send is that, you know, regardless of of who she is or what she looks like, she still stands for the same ideals that Batwoman did, and that makes her, you know, little to no different to what the previous Batwoman did. So, like, especially like what makes her different in this case is what makes her better: her knowledge, her skill set, and stuff like that. And I think, her immediately rushing to kill Alice again, like Luke said, it goes against the code of the Bat family in general, minus Red Hood. But it goes against what Batwoman herself stood for. No killing. You capture the criminals, you lock them up, and you hand them over to the authorities, and you do the things that the police, the police and the crows can't, and you be where they can't handle super criminals or whatever. You help them with those threats. So it will be interesting to see how Ryan actually continues into the mantle, knowing all of this and actually agreeing to this code and everything. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing to seeing if she really can not to doubt her tolerance or anything, like not to doubt her what's the word, like not to doubt her restraint abilities, I guess, like for lack of a better term maybe, but also like seeing if she, I mean, yeah, like seeing if she can actually, hold herself back from killing Alice, because I think she wants justice, and whether or not killing is justice is like a really, really kind of, it's definitely a controversial topic. But killing, I mean, on the hands of a vigilante, whether or not killing is justice is like, I feel maybe like a grey area. But I guess it depends on the vigilante you focus on and the vigilante you bring into the discussion. So with Batwoman, I think her code is no killing, like similar to Batman. So Ryan will definitely have to fall under that kind of mindset. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how she actually. I mean, she's not a killer, so she won't have a hard time. But I think coming up against someone like Alice, who tests her patience and who tests her history and her pain and her memories so much, it'll be interesting to see exactly how far she goes with Alice before she actually considers something else. So yeah, it'll be fun. And Ryan got to get the Batmobile this time too. So I think thinking back on it, I know I did say I hope Ryan gets a bike too, but I think thinking back on it, like Kate started off with a bike and she kept the bike because it's what she was comfortable with, but Ryan pretty much lived out of an RV, so she was used to driving it around everywhere. And even with even with Tommy Elliott driving the Batmobile as badly as he did, she managed to outdrive him and outrun him in her RV. So I think they're keeping her with that because she's got the actual driving skills over the riding skills. So I think she's definitely going to be keeping the Batmobile. And I think it's going to be cool to see her doing that too, to see her actually utilizing the Batmobile and keeping it and bringing it in and out. I mean, I don't know what their budget is. I don't know how often they might be bringing in the Batmobile, but regardless, it was cool to see her using it in this case. And I think the Batmobile, I think it's I think, I don't know how they might incorporate that, because I think with the bike it was smaller and somewhat more portable and easier to hide and easier to get to. So with the car though, like that's the Batmobile. People are gonna recognize that. Like with Kate's bike, it was Kate's bike. So I think people wouldn't really, unless there was an actual Batwoman on top of the bike. Unless the bike was the bike was bat shaped or had Batwoman riding it down the road. I don't think people would actually pay too much attention. But if they see the Batmobile coming down the road, they're gonna notice that Batmobile. They're gonna know Batwoman's inside that. So I feel like that might be a bit more conspicuous. But we'll see how it goes. And how she actually utilizes it. And it wasn't damaged as far as I can tell from the bus explosion. It drove away unscathed. So that was cool. But yeah, Ryan gets the Batmobile. And yeah, Alice is going down her own kind of repeated path of loneliness. She killed Mouse. She took Mouse away from herself, or pushed him away rather, before sending his corpse into Mary's clinic. So Mouse is officially gone then. Like that is the last we'll see of Mouse. Mouse was taken away with the bats and covered in bat marks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so Alice has pushed away everyone, and she's missing Kate. Especially after Sophia took her away from her. So she is kind of clinging onto the desperation of actually forging some kind of uneasy alliance with Sophie, or with Julie even, and then of course handing over the bloody gift together, the bloody antidote gift to Mary, and to actually hoping to forge even the uneasiest of alliances with someone at least before she actually comes face to face with Sophia. Because I think she knows she needs allies in the fight against Sophia that's coming. So she doesn't know. I mean, she knows no one can trust her because she's Alice and because she's done all these terrible things. But she also doesn't know who's the easiest person to goad into some kind of trust or some kind of alliance. So she's kind of just picking at like false strings here and there, seeing who's gonna answer, and like just knocking on a bunch of doors, seeing who's actually gonna answer and who's actually gonna give up their kind of vulnerability and their kind of trust to her. So it's interesting to see her go down that. I think we've only seen her do it to two people so far, Julia and Mary. I think if she walked into the Crow's headquarters to try and ask Jacob to do it, then it would not go well. He would immediately arrest her on the spot, and stuff would not go down. So I think she definitely kind of approached Mary and Julia where they were most vulnerable. Mary at her place of work, and Julia in the car in the back seat. And even with Julia, she actually left behind a warning, like a knife in the ribcage and everything. So yeah, I mean, but with Julia, it was the more kind of more directly tied to the Sapphire business. But then with Mary, it was actually after she had released the bats onto Gotham, she actually came by with the antidote and stuff. So it was pretty fairly staged. But yeah, no, Alice, seeing Alice go down this particular rabbit hole, I think is going to be a fascinating thing to see, like seeing exactly who she might be. I mean, because I think if anything, they might end up turning her into an anti-hero, because I think from the get-go, like from the first episode, you'd wonder what her journey is now. With Kate gone, she might not bother taking over Gotham anymore because of the fact that Kate is gone and she has no one else to fight her, or no one else to actually, pick her up again. But now with Sapphire being in the mix, and Sapphire also being the one behind Kate's death, then she now has a new bone to pick. But she also knows that, she needs to be smart about it and actually be allies, and also maybe have a scapegoat too. Like, if things do go south, then she knows then she needs someone to pin it on. And also, if she needs to make a quick escape, she can just, throw Sapphire, or like throw like whatever ally she has Sapphire's way, and then run away while they're taking the heavy beatings and do all that stuff. Like, like Sophie said, Alice is cold, and she is calculated, and she is cunning. She knows not to carry too much baggage or too many loose ends, and if she does have any loose ends, then throw them at her enemies and run away to live another day. So I don't know who she's gonna try next, or how far she's gonna get with Julia or Mary. I mean, with Mary, the cure worked, the blood worked, so she's gonna hang on to that kind of leverage like something. She's gonna hang on to that leverage for dear life. She's gonna keep reminding her, I gave you the blood that you then took to Hamilton Dynamics and then had synthesized into a cure. So you owe me. I gave you that blood. Without that blood, people would have died, and you'd be feeling guilty because you're a doctor and you can't save them. So she's gonna use those words. She's gonna use something along that line. So I feel like Mary is the one she's closest to kind of harpooning into some kind of alliance. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Alice is down an entirely different rabbit hole this season. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, the Kate saved Ryan. I didn't know what that flashback was at the very beginning of the episode. I think, it seemed like it was Ryan in the present day, but I mean, she was wearing I think she might have gone to it was Halloween. It was Halloween, so she was like, maybe she went to a fancy dress party, or maybe she was trick or treating or something. Maybe she was carrying like a bag with no money in it, no ATM card. And I think up until they actually almost threatened to kill her, there was like a almost sad and hilarious kind of undertone too, like they're them trying to mug her on Halloween, like expecting to find money, but then her just being like, yeah, you're robbing the wrong person, you're literally targeting the wrong person, I'm broke as hell, I've got 3 other kind of collection agencies asking me where the money is, no ATM card, like I'm broke as hell, you're not gonna get anything from me. So then they resort to killing, but then it, like, I thought it was in the present, so I thought, oh, it must be someone else that they've kind of, like for some reason just shoved into the Batsuit and then forced to save Ryan in that situation. But no, that was actually way back when. When Kate was still around. Like, they obviously couldn't have Ruby Rose come back and film that just for that one scene, just to clarify that, Kate is really gone. But that was when Kate was still Batwoman and she actually saved them and stuff. And I don't know why, like, it definitely seemed like thinking back, it definitely seemed like more of a possibility too. I feel like if it was Julia, then we'd either have it confirmed later in the episode, which I was waiting for, or we'd actually get more of like a visible kind of appearance, like we would have actually seen that it was Julia under the mask, maybe like a close-up. But no, the fact that it was far away, we couldn't see who was under the mask, or even what the facial appearance was like. It shows that it was Kate, but they just couldn't confirm that. So way back when Kate did save Ryan actually somewhat indirectly met Batwoman, and then her life was saved by Batwoman. Her life was saved, and she threw one of the batarangs back at the guy, the last guy who tried to pick up the gun and fire it. So she showed off some skills with her own with her own abilities. So yeah, and even that day, like because we know Kate actually had a tendency to at the end of every episode, at the end of every day, to actually write like a journal entry to Bruce and tell him how she was feeling. So she actually wrote about the night she saved Ryan and how Ryan seemed like a young woman, so full of hope and so full of fearsomeness and ferocity sounds more usable, ferocity and passion and stuff like she seemed like a young woman, so full of hope and stuff. So you know that, like, I think that flashback and the diary entry too, that really works to drive home that sense of heroism that Kate had, and that sense of connection that Ryan felt towards Batwoman. Like, you know, she had her life saved by Batwoman once, and then, you know, days down the line, she actually ends up finding the Batwoman suit, the bat suit, in like in a plane crash. So, you know, it definitely, I think moments like that, story pieces like that, definitely drive home the fact that this person is not just like a person that's come in out of nowhere. They know who Batwoman is. She knows who actually she knows who Batwoman is, and who Batwoman and what Batwoman stands for, and what the bat symbol means. She knows that, you know, Batwoman is meant to be a hero. She stands up for the little person. And all the other people, and she also, like, you know, like she fights the good fight. She fights a good fight. She stands for justice and reason, and stuff like that. So I think that all the more inspired her to actually step forward at the very end of the episode and actually say that, you know, she's staying if they'll have her. She's interested in staying. She's interested in actually picking up the mantle and the suit and actually fighting for the people of Gotham. So yeah, that was a really nice touch. Really nice touch. And then, yeah, at the very end, we have, I thought it was Sapphire. The sword made me, you know, like, I knew it wasn't anyone we knew as of yet, and then the sword was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a newcomer with a new weapon, and then I thought, oh, this must be Sapphire. This must be our first meeting with Sapphire. But no, this is Tatiana, presumably a follower or ally of some sort of Sapphire's, and so like a messenger, pretty much, like a messenger actually delivering the word, and also guaranteeing that, you know, Alice can get to meet Sapphire very soon. So yeah, so she came in and knocked Sophie right the hell out. I thought she was about to actually stab her. I think, because I figured, okay, well, you know, Alice gives Julia a freaking butterfly knife wound. Maybe Tatiana gives her a full-on longsword wound. Maybe Alice goes after Julia, and Tatiana goes straight after Sophie, taking them both out in one hit. But no, she actually was there just to send them just to deliver the message that Sapphire was coming, and that she wasn't happy with what Alice was doing and stuff like that. So now, very soon, we'll hopefully meet Sapphire and see what she's all about. So yes, I think that is for this season, that is the big kind of climactic kind of story coming, and the bigger kind of big bad story coming. You know, Alice being one big bad, and knowing that Sapphire is coming after her. And also Alice, like, going after Sapphire too. Alice actually taking on Sapphire for what she did also, but Sapphire kind of, you know, making her dominance and her presence known in the city, and actually delivering the message that she's not someone to be messed with or to be screwed with. So that is going to be an interesting thing to see. I have no idea who Sapphire Sahel is. I'm just going to put that disclaimer out right there. Presumably a comic book character, but I have no idea who she is, where she comes from, what she's all about. But just that, you know, obviously Julia kind of met up with her and actually had some initially kind of, you know, negative kind of contact and everything. So she's not someone you want to make an enemy out of. So we're about to find out just how much you don't want to make an enemy out of her. So seeing, I think that might, I don't know if they might go down the path of like a team up between Batwoman and Alice, because I think that I hate to think it, because it feels cliche and also goes against what Ryan might feel. Like she would never want to team up with the woman that actually killed that was responsible for her mother's death. So I don't know. I mean, we're only 2 episodes in. For all we know, the next 10-15 episodes could be about, you know, deeper character analysis and character relationships and reconciliation. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the idea of them maybe even actually pairing Batwoman and Alice up and actually sending them both after Sapphire. But then I feel like that might be the initial like the destination they reach, and even if it's like a fragile alliance, like that might be the ultimate fragile alliance, like Ryan teaming up with Alice, like Batwoman teaming up with Alice, and then them going after Sapphire. But then once Sapphire's out of the picture, you know, Batwoman goes straight after Alice and tries to actually get her arrested and locked up and everything. So yeah, but I don't know, but I think that will be an interesting thing to see too. Like if by some miracle Ryan actually does manage to actually you know, get Alice into handcuffs and actually get her arrested, but then if she actually delivers her to the crows, would they accept her? Would they actually accept Alice? Would Jacob accept Alice as an actual locked up criminal? I don't know. He did at the end of the last, like in the last season, he actually did he did allow working with Kate to actually lock up Alice in Arkham Asylum, but now she's escaped from that. So there's really not many places you can go. I mean, now she doesn't really have anyone else. Now that, you know, Tommy, I mean, we haven't really seen what's happened to Tommy. Tommy might still be interested in teaming up. So we have to wait and see if Tommy Elliot returns, if Hush returns, and he teams up with Alice instead, and then Batwoman has to actually work to defeat them and to defeat Sapphire. So I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a roller coaster ride. This season seems like it's going to be a roller coaster ride of enemies versus hero and hero versus enemies and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. We will most definitely see. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much all I've got from this episode. A very fun one, very fun continuation into Ryan's journey of becoming Batwoman and actually understanding the kind of upsides and the downsides that brings with the role. So very much looking forward to more of this. Is there anything I've forgotten? Oh wait, no. I literally, like, the name popped into my head. Like, the name Mary popped into my head as soon as I went to finish off the video. No, Mary, we got to talk about Mary. Mary was great in this episode. And I think I loved that even she addressed the fact that, you know, people seem to be really kind of adamant that she moved past the fact that Alice killed her mom. And I think, you know, even from like having that carried on from last season, I feel like is pretty necessary, because she's never once hinted at the fact that she's ready to move past it. I think she's moved past it for the sake, I think, of actually completing whatever missions are at hand. She's never once accepted the fact that Alice would kill her mother, or the fact that she'd lost her mother. She's always kind of, for the sake of the mission, for the sake of the people at risk, and for the sake of justice, she's always kind of, or at least kind of, you know, like spontaneous justice, she's always kind of, she's always shown that she's willing to actually push through and power through and solve whatever task is at hand. But she's never once kind of said that she's actually been able to come to terms and come to peace with her mother's death, or even come to terms with the fact that Alice was responsible. But I think it also kind of drives that fact even like home even harder. The fact that Ryan comes in, another woman who had someone she loved taken away from her by Alice, and it was her mother, no less. It was her mother. So I think that kind of dynamic is one of the reasons I'm actually so excited to see what happens between Ryan and Mary. Like seeing if seeing how far how much farther their friendship goes, knowing what they've both been through, and even at the end, like, you know, like Mary being so excited to actually show Ryan around the Batcave for the first time, like her giving the grand tour. Was really cool. So I'm curious to see exactly how Ryan and Mary, both individually and togetherly, both individually and, you know, and in a combined manner. I don't know why my vocabulary is so bad, and I can never come up with the right words. So it's always no words, or just, you know, words for lack of better words. But both individually and harmoniously, no. Dually, I think dually is a word, maybe dually. I don't know words. I can never words. I can never English properly, but, you know, both together and individually, how they actually, you know, move forward in the Alice dilemma, and how they actually approach the Alice dilemma, and how they actually kind of come up with solutions for crimes together, and also how they actually approach the whole kind of, you know, of actually taking down Alice once and for all. And stuff. And I think that friendship between Mary and Ryan is going to be something to live and die for. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to that, and especially the ship names that might come out of it. The ship names that might come out. I mean, Mary Ryan, Mary Ryan. I don't know. I'm gonna leave the ship names to the people better at coming up with the ship names. I'm not gonna try and come up with any by myself. But that friendship is, I think, is going to be something that's going to be really, really wholesome and really sweet and really kind of strong to watch and to see unfold. So that's going to be really fun. But yeah, that is definitely all I can think of coming up into this episode. So yeah, coming out of this episode even. So yeah, it's going to be fun watching how this story progresses and how these characters move forward into the future together. With all the troubles they face, and with all the future threats and enemies they face. So it's going to be fun. So that is pretty much all I've got. So that was Batwoman Season 2, Episode 2. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Batwoman, and what your theories are for the future, and what you'd like to see from Ryan in the future too. Once again, the full-length reaction is going to be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.